I am Daryl McKell Brooks. Boy, the other coast. Hey, Rebecca.
Hey, Daryl, how are you doing?
I'm so excited. They say Chris was supposed to be on. He had some problems with his internet, and he had our guest Ezra supposed to come on, Naomi, and but we had to reschedule her, and Chris had internet problems coming on next week. But we are at it. We have a very special guest right in your hometown, your area. I don't know, it's
Yeah.
Scranton and it's Factoryville. You know,
Oh, wow. Yeah,
that's that,
that's
right?
close by.
Lou, yeah, Factoryville. Lou Jasakaff. He is one of the great actors in Pennsylvania. The Gazette in Pennsylvania. He is the publisher of that newspaper. And a lot of things has been especially cash for kids. What's going on in the judicial system with parents' rights, and he's coming on to talk about it. I am so excited. It is Thursday, as you know. Tomorrow is the gun show, Oaks Gun Show. I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the book signing.
Yes.
Welcome to America and 37 days. I'm so excited. Bring Lou Jasakaff on. Hey, Lou, how you doing? Welcome to the On Fire Show.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't see you. You need light.
You need more light than this?
All right, Lou,
We can hear you.
more
We
light.
just can't see you.
Hold on here. Let me put some more light on in this room. Just give me a second,
All right.
Daryl. Okay, is that better?
Yes,
All right,
that's
all right.
better.
Yeah, I think I'll put on the overhead light, and then we'll get this thing rocking. How's that?
Okay, yeah.
Sounds good.
Let's get it right. All right.
Nice
I'm just
Christmas
so excited.
tree.
Lou,
Oh,
yeah. Lou has been an activist for I guess 30 years, and libertarian parts, I guess, in the Republican area. But he's ran for Senate and Congress and chairman of the Libertarian Party in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Now he's head of the Gazette. So tell us what's some of the things that are happening in your state. Cash for kids. And what's happened to rights?
we can't. We'll definitely get into that here, Daryl. Rebecca, where are you from? Are you up from this area?
Yeah, I'm in the Scranton area. I'm a bit north of Scranton. Little town out in the middle of nowhere, Tunkhannock area.
You're in Tunkhannock.
Yep.
Well, one of these days we have to have have a lunch or something at Twigs, because we for many years we had Twigs Cafe Radio. Interviewed incredible amount of people. A good friend of mine was Roger Stone. We've interviewed Roger there. Gary Johnson, the former governor of New Mexico, we interviewed in the studio.
Wow.
In fact, the Bertelsmann Foundation, which is the largest nonprofit in Germany, years ago, they came they were hired by the European Union to do a documentary on media in the United States. And they identified 100 media outlets, New York Times, Fox News, CNN, New York Times, and it was us. Twigs Cafe Radio was in there, and they brought their movie film up cameras up into Twigs. So you must be familiar with Twigs.
Oh, yes, very familiar with Twigs. That's a hot spot.
Yeah, there you go. So we have a locally here involved not only just in politics, as you all know, you can't open your mouth these days without getting into a mud wrestling match. And we have a barn here filled with rocks, crystals, gems, all kinds of different things. And it's a nice counterbalance. We don't only just do that. We just opened one down towards Exeter, and I only bring this up because you're familiar with it, the Copper Fox. And we're putting in a greenhouse here to show people how to grow their own food and medicine. This is all some of the things that we did. I've been on 94.3 FM, The Talker, for 5 years, filled in on WYLK. and actually was offered a gig there, but I just too many other things going on. So Rebecca, Darrell, I mean, literally, 10 minutes away from where I live. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's very close by.
Yeah. So you're familiar then with the Kids for Cash. And besides being on the radio, we had the Independent Gazette. What's that? We had the Independent Gazette for many years, and we were all part of that Kids for Cash, and now Custody for Cash. That has raised its ugly head again, and we're right in the middle of that. We're up to printing again weekly, mailing stuff out to our state representatives and holding them accountable. And what we're doing now, Rebecca and Darrell, is we want results. We've been involved with so many things for so many years. Unless it's result orientated, you could spend a lot of time, not getting anything done. We get a lot of complaints, believe it or not, about Tunkhannock School Board, all the school boards up here locally. Rebecca, I'm involved with a lot of the different groups here. We probably know a lot of the same people and the same groups of people that are involved. But
Right.
But with a lot of those.
Could you explain for the people watching who may not know exactly what it is that you do? Could you explain it for the people at home?
Okay, so once again, we've been on the radio for many years. We're starting to do the internet stuff again, and sometimes I feel on WILK, which is probably the premier radio show in Northeast Pennsylvania. If Biden comes to town, he goes on the radio. Trump comes in town, he goes on WILK. So they have a pretty big audience, and I'll fill in there from time to time. In fact, I was just asked here the other day to if I was willing to fill in a couple days here and there throughout the month, which gives me a nice platform to be able to get some issues out. The other thing is the Independent Gazette. That is not just a digital newspaper, but a printed newspaper. We print it, and now we're gearing up to do it once a week, to where we mail it out to our state representatives, because we want to hold them accountable, and along with the federal representatives. And this year, going into 24, we have three initiatives that we're working on. One is cameras in courtroom, court reform. Rebecca, or I don't know how long you've lived here, but if anybody that's listening, people that are listening to your radio show today, Kids for Cash is brutal, brutal, brutal. This is something that there's a movie out about it, where kids were being jailed for money. The two judges that were part of that, they're in jail now. And go ahead.
And how exactly was that happening? Could you explain for people who don't understand how that was even happening here?
Okay, so what happens is first of all, your family courts are held very much in darkness. There is no transparency. In fact, Darrell, I just sent you a little clip from Judge Judy, which we've been screaming for years and years to have cameras in courtroom. But we have said, and we have been saying, that you have no justice in America unless your courtrooms are free and open, and you're assured that you're getting real justice. In many ways, that was not being done with the Kids for Cash. Just a couple quick stories which might help your audience understand what that Kids for Cash was. I want you to consider your 13-year-old daughter getting into an argument with another girl over a boy during school. And during volleyball class, she takes the ball and throws the ball and hits the kid in the back of the head. These things happen all the time, except here in Scranton, Pennsylvania. The next thing you know, she was brought to the courtroom before Judge Chivarella. And imagine you're the mom and dad, and as you're there, you're watching your daughter, your 13-year-old daughter, getting handcuffed and shackled at the legs, shackled on the arms, and then 6.5 years later, still in jail over that offense.
Wow.
This is what was happening, Darrell. This is what was going on. Another part of the movie, and this is not theory. This is exactly what happened.
Mhm.
So we were all part of that. We were part of some of that stuff that was going on. And then as we move forward, the custody for cash, which is going on now and is going to be worse and nationwide. This is a phenomenon nationwide that's happening. The kids that are being taken from their parents and basically used as money. And you just have to look up Nancy Schaefer, which is a governor or senator in Georgia. She was murdered over this thing. You put up all you have to do is type in or Google kids for merchandise, kids for cash. This is going on, and right here in Pennsylvania, we are, if not the most corrupt county, Lackawanna County and Luzerne County. No, Daryl, unfortunately, we have that honor. And you know as well as I do what goes on in Jersey. Yeah. You know what goes on in Scranton and in Trenton and Bayonne and Patterson. You understand Jersey City. You know what goes on there. But unfortunately, Lackawanna and well, yeah. So that all being said, so that's one of our initiatives is we want to have open hearings here, Rebecca. Our state senator, I'll think of that one in a minute, heads the judiciary here in Pennsylvania. And we've been asking that they have open hearings. But once again, it's very hard to push some of these legislators to get stuff done, especially with the courts. So we're going to be breaking a lot of news. There's lawsuits now that have been filed, and the dam is breaking. We're right in the middle of all of that. We are flooded again with people coming forward, pleading for help, and it's we're going to be. We're going to be definitely an influence on breaking this open. We're also working with people within the courts, and we're going to start working with voters in general, not Republicans, not Democrats, not independents, just good people that are registered voters that want to see some reform in our courts. So that's number one.
Okay.
The second initiative that we're working on is free and equal elections. Daryl mentioned that I did run. Do you know, Rebecca, I ran as an independent to keep my opponent off the ballot as a Democrat and a Republican in an election I wasn't even allowed to vote in. Wow. Think about that, folks. I want your audience to understand that when people say that every vote counts, it's real important that we have free and equal elections right here in River City, right here in Pennsylvania. Independents are not allowed to vote in the primaries. And I don't care if the Republicans, if they want to close primary, all good. What's that?
I've heard that before. He can run, but he can't vote.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
That happened in New Jersey.
It's a lot of similarities.
It happens all over the place. But once again, when we're talking here and Daryl, the only reason, and Rebecca, I'm bringing this up is what we do and how we are moving forward here. And I'm glad to be on the radio here because there might be a lot of synergy with the people at your audience and saying, wait a minute, what this guy is saying, this covers all and crosses all boundaries. This is not Democrat, Republican, independent, conservative, liberal. This is just about true justice.
Right.
Go ahead, Daryl. Oh, I thought you had a question.
Yeah, I do have a question. So, as you know about the cash for kids going to jail.
Yes.
What happened after they locked us up? All right, what happened after that? I mean,
Daryl, let me stop right there. There were thousands.
Wow.
We wrote stories about how they were targeted through the school lunch.
But you would think that the court system would be more careful after they locked the two judges up.
No. In fact, I'm here to tell you they've probably been emboldened because they only locked up the two judges. We taught the lawyers that were involved, the court representatives. You had law enforcement. You had people that did psychiatrists. I mean, there are so many people involved with this stuff, and they're all on the food chain. They're all making money off of this. And so, in fact, right after that, the custody for cash, which is a guardian ad litem, Danielle Ross, who is now back into the scene again, convicted felon. We helped get her convicted as a guardian ad litem. And I don't know if you guys know what a guardian ad litem. I certainly didn't when I first started this. That is a lawyer that is appointed by the courts to supposedly protect the kids' interests. Okay. It is so bad. Rebecca, I could have you guys' hair on fire with the stories I could tell you.
Yeah.
It is brutal, brutal, brutal. And it was very hard for me to believe, only because, I'm sorry, Darryl, it was hard for me to believe because I had no axe to grind.
Right.
I never was in the court system. It wasn't like I was going after somebody. It took me a very long period of time when people started coming to us, giving us their stories, that I finally wrote the first story. And when we did, I couldn't answer, or we couldn't answer, all the phone calls from around the country pleading for help.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a local here, and I mean, you don't hear anything about this on the local news media or anywhere. No one's talking about it. So I'm glad you're here today, bringing awareness to the issue. So this isn't just happening in Pennsylvania, then this is happening in other states as well.
Yeah, it is. And it goes all the way back to the Clinton administration when they did the Family Act or something. And the states get a lot of money and the counties get a lot of money for every child that is put into foster care. Now, let's not get wrong here. There are people out there, and I think good people, most people think if you lost your kids, you probably deserve to lose the kids. That is, a general, feeling. I certainly felt that way until you start interviewing people and seeing what's going on and the amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca, we have people, hundreds of thousands of dollars, regular people, cash payments to these people. One lady we just interviewed again because her child has now aged out, so we could interview them, how that affected them.
Right.
I mean, told to, max out your credit cards, borrow money from your family, and get a second job. These people they're broken. They're broken financially, spiritually, emotionally. You take your kids away, there's nothing your grandparents won't do or parent, and they know that. And it's sad. It is so demonic. I don't even know how this continues to go on. And you're going to be hearing it here. You're going to hear it mainstream here, because I'm telling you right now, some lawsuits have just been filed against these people, and that's going to be kind of swept under the rug for a little while. But there's more and more coming, big ones coming that we're aware of. I'll give you an example, Darryl. Catch this. A guy comes to me. Okay, that's fine. I understand how that works.
We gotta take a step. This is the On the Fire Show with myself, Darryl McHale Brooks, and Rebecca Boyd, and we have our special guest, Lou Jasakaff of the Independent Gazette out in Pennsylvania, Factoryville. We'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the On the Fire Show. This is the host, Darryl McHale Brooks, with my other two great co-hosts. Yes, Rebecca. Are you there? Rebecca Boyd.
I am here. So excited to be here.
And Chris Cloud. Hey, Chris. Wow, man. How you doing?
It's a long time making. Glad to be here.
Thank you all for watching and supporting.
I am just a big patriot and lover of freedom. And
I'm coming to you guys from what I call the front line of the heartland.
Flip Ammo, is your trusted source of high-quality ammunition. We're passionate about shooting and offer a wide range of products from bulk ammo to hard-to-find rounds, all at competitive prices. You can choose from local pickup or fast daily shipping. We are the fastest shippers in the industry. We strategically developed our space next to the UPS shipping center and can ship most orders same day till 7 p.m. Our dedicated customer service team is always available for any questions or product recommendations. Experience the passion, expertise, and exceptional service that sets us apart. Flip Ammo, your trusted source for high-quality ammunition.
All right, we're back. Okay, I am excited to have our guests on, Lou Jasakaff and Rebecca Boyd. Hey, Rebecca, are you still on for a few minutes, or?
Yeah, still on, ready
All
to
right.
go.
All right, ready to go. Okay, that's good. So, Lou, you know a lot about what's happening, national politics, international news. Tell us the people that are watching now. When you see people like Senator Menendez, 4 gold bars inside of his jacket and $500,000, and you see about the politicians across the country that's financial scandal. See what's going on with the national media and what it's doing to former President Trump. And you see what's happening in the GOP. Plus, you see Biden. You see the corruption that is taking place with his son, Hunter Biden. It's just like, people are asking, like, what type of government do we have? What type of society? Where we're headed? Give us your input on some of those things that are just, let's talk to you about.
Well, for myself, Daryl, once again, getting back to what we were talking about is how do we really make a difference? How do we get real results? It's obviously shameful, and the only thing that that really changes or how we can make a change is that there's full transparency in everything that we do. Cockroaches don't like sunlight, so the more transparency we could get out there, the better off we're going to be. And it starts locally. For me, I think it starts more locally. It's all these things, but what am I going to do? Spend time in with our paper and talk about some of these, whether it's Menendez, and that's what the role of real journalism should be. But you should have real journalism in New Jersey and in Delaware and all of these places that have the resources to really dig in and to expose these things. And that was one of the reasons it was protected by the First Amendment, not some other amendment. It was very important to the founders that we do have true, free, and equal press and real journalism. And that's always under fire. Once again, I keep bringing it back to the local only because I think it's a microcosm of what's happening generally. Your bigger newspapers, whether it's the Times or the Denver Post or whatever, whoever they are. But even locally, when we had the Wilkes-Barre Independent Gazette going, we did a story on 2 families. And we focused mostly on nepotism, cronyism, and we called him the King Layton. King Layton was the mayor, and his brother worked in probation. His other brother worked in domestic. His cousin was the chief of police. The solicitor was his cousin. He had about 12 family members that worked in the school board thing. And we laugh about that, but we went and we threw these papers on every single doorstep in Wilkes-Barre. Now, Wilkes-Barre is you heard of it. It's not, it's bigger than Duncannon or Factoryville. And yet, this is what's going on in clear view of everybody. And I'll never forget, every one of our advertisers was paid a visit, every single one. And I remember a restaurateur calling me. He said, "Lou, the mayor just left and he had two questions for me. Why am I advertising in your newspaper? And when was my last inspection? So what happens is everything is so local. And he said, listen, I love you, man, but I can't advertise anymore. So, it's a difficult thing to do, to have real investigative journalism. And I'm real proud about the stuff that we've done. And we've made a commitment to I do not care. I don't care what you think. I really don't anymore. It's and when we did have our radio going all the time, we let everybody on as long as they were able to talk intelligently and respectfully, and then we had some real good conversations. But it's important. So when you look at Daryl, to answer your question, it takes a lot of people, good people, and transparency to fight this, because this has been going on since for thousands of years. We've had corruption in government, and the only way you change it is a limited government and transparency, and that's what makes it important to have a local government. I'm going to tell you one quick story on the custody for cash, kids for cash, and I do want to get on to the third leg of our stool, which is the immigration, which is more of a national issue. But
yes, that's what I definitely talk about.
I know.
We got a big problem.
But what's that?
Yeah.
We got a big problem.
We do. And once again, for transparency, well, let me just tell you, a guy comes to me, he says, listen, I've had 125 drug tests. He was sent for 125 drug tests. He said, Lou, I don't drink and I don't do drugs. Okay, well, as from a journalist, I said, I believe you, but honestly, I don't really believe you. Bring me the drug test, right? So he brings them all in, and I look at it. He passes everyone, right? So he goes to the judge here locally, one of our corrupt judges, and he says, listen, I think I'm getting overcharged for my drug test. The guy says, in the meantime, the guardian ad litem's mother owns the drug testing company. Okay. Once again, all this nepotism, cronyism that's going on. He says, you're delusional. You need to go to Harrisburg to see a psychiatrist, i.e., before you get to see your children. And he said, and then he shows me the letter from the psychiatrist. Before you come see me, i.e., before you get to see your children again, you need to sign over all your HIPAA rights and bring a cashier's check for $10,000. This is what's happening. Rebecca, what is happening here is not only criminal. It is, I don't even, it is
Welcome
so,
to America.
Yes. And I've heard so many stories, and I think a lot of people don't realize how big of an issue this is, and the corruption and judges, until they're finding themselves in a predicament where it's suddenly right in their face. They can't ignore it anymore. But yeah, I've heard so many complaints.
Well, think about this. We're all under surveillance everywhere we go, except the courts. They're still doing this, I don't know if they still have the people typing there or not, but why can't we have cameras in courtrooms? And even if you want to use it as a black box, okay, if somebody makes the thing like we have to protect somebody's privacy or something, that's fine. But let's have a black box. So if somebody complains, we could go see what actually happened, and they just don't erase it and saying it was, get that off the record or something of that nature. So those are the two things we're working on is our local elections. What's that?
Is that
cameras in courtrooms?
They can't have cameras in
no, that's
courtrooms?
no. There is no law. There is no law on that, and we could go into a lot of different things about the courts, jury nullification. We could do a whole show on just jury nullification, because that's another whole issue that most people have no idea. It was Adams and Jefferson who said you now have not only a right but an obligation as a juror to not only judge the facts of the case but the actual law itself. It was Jefferson who said that the last bastion from a runaway government is the jury box. And so we've done all kinds of reporting on that. We've interviewed all judges locally, how they would react, because basically what it comes down to, have either one of you guys been on the jury?
No.
If you were, you would be instructed by the judge that you must you must base your decision on the facts of the case and the law as he gives it. That is totally false. And we could go all the way back to once again Adams and Jefferson, and it was against the law at one time for anybody to write anything ill about the governor of New York. And it was Peter Zenger who wrote a story, and the prosecutor said the truth is no defense, just because he's telling the truth. And it was Alexander Hamilton that informed the jury of his rights, and they acquitted him. And one of the questions we sent to the local judges was, according to how you instruct your jurors, you would need to find Rosa Parks guilty, because in fact, and would you find Rosa Parks guilty? Because in fact, it was against the law to sit on the front of the bus, and in fact, she did. So most people would say, well, this is ridiculous, but that's one of the real with jury nullification. I don't want to get into all of that because I could take up your own show, and I know you want to get into a little bit about the immigration. Yeah.
Yes, because we got a big immigration problem. I just was watching something that said 12,000 people in 1 week, might be more than that, and it's insanity.
And just recently, numbers of known terrorists coming into our country, the latest number I heard was 169 just recently. And most people think that these known terrorists coming across the border into the United States are seized by the United States government, and we know where they are, but that's not true. A lot of them, we have no idea where they go once they cross our border. We just know that they're here somewhere. Right.
So, as an example, I've been on every state border in the United States. Daryl, you know, I'm good friends with Gary Johnson. What's that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You said something about Camden.
No,
you're breaking up.
Rebecca was talking. We're talking about how many people were in the, how many terrorists they've caught, and how many terrorists are in the country right now. And
right,
I said Camden, Philadelphia,
and that should be a function of Homeland Security and the FBI. I mean, of catching terrorists and knowing where they're at, and so that's one issue. But we one of the things that, and the initiative for the Independent Gazette is, we are sending letters out to the 19 federal elected officials in Pennsylvania. We have 17 congressmen and women and two senators. That's the 19, and they're the ones. This is a federal policy, and basically what we're asking them is, we want to know how are they going to fix the issue, and what is the policy? I think we all agree on this, that you can't have open borders with a welfare state. We have not had any immigration policy reform since Reagan. And why? And you know why, you should know why, and I know why, is because the Republicans will blame Democrats, Democrats will blame the Republicans. Just recently, we like in the last week or something, they closed some of the borders down in Arizona. And I'm listening to this because there were too many people to process. Let that sink into you. Process.
Yeah.
They're not, when we say illegal immigrants, most people get this picture that they're running across the Rio Grande and they're coming into the country. They're processed. They're coming through the gates, and they're given court dates 5-10 years down the road. This is a function of our Congress. If it was me, I'd be sending buses to every single congressman and senator in the United States. Every single one. You could start with Schumer. You could do it with Cruz. I don't care who it is. They need to fix the policy, because we don't have a policy. You don't know if you come in. I mean, you got to be kidding me. You know, we always talk about a wall, and to me, that is, what's that?
So why haven't they fixed the policy? I mean, we've had, presidents we had since Reagan. No one wants to fix the policy.
Nobody wants to fix
I'm thinking
the policy.
Is that, yeah. So is it possible that they want more illegals to come in this country? and not deal with the sending them back. I mean, when you
honestly,
look
Daryl, I do think you could make a case of that because something doesn't make sense.
Sent what? He sent 5 million illegal immigrants back to their country, and Trump was on his way to
but here's
sending
my
about
point.
4 or 5 million.
Here's my point, and I want this for folks to think about this. All we keep hearing is the securing the borders. They're not securing the borders. I'm going to tell you right now, anybody that tells you they haven't been in the United States, I've taken a donkey across the Rio Grande down to Boquilla. I've been on every single state border. You know, from El Paso. You know it. You've seen the pictures, man. I'm walking a donkey right down the middle of the thing. I've been on the border of Minnesota, the boundary waters. I go back and forth on the Canadian border. The largest unfortified border in the history of mankind is the Canadian border. People are coming through from up there also. Even if somehow, some miracle, you're able to close off the southern border, as long as you have free stuff, people are going to come. There is no, and I keep bringing this up. Walk into China. You can walk into China. Go ahead, Daryl. I dare you to walk into China, open up a Chinese restaurant there. Let's see how long you last. How about you, Rebecca? Go walk into Russia. Go ahead, walk across the border and open up a mini mart. Go ahead, go. And you see, it's their policy. We have no policy. And I can tell you,
and
you're
it's
in
crazy because we're helping Ukraine with their border, secure their border. We're helping Jerusalem secure their border, and we don't even pay any attention to securing ours.
And securing it. I'll go back to this. Where are you going to put up a wall in Maryland?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where are you going to put this up in Montana? Because even my problem with this whole thing is that it splits us apart. I'm telling you right now, we have a lot of people come to my business here. We talk about these things. 85% of the people agree. I'm telling you that they say that it's not right that we have to put our hands in our pocket all the time to pay somebody else when they're struggling. And most people agree with this.
Yeah.
Well, you can't have, Daryl, you can't have an open border policy with a welfare state. At least that's what I say. If you're going to give free stuff away, we live right here on 611 here. We're going to do a little thing out there. We're going to give away free coffee and donuts. You know how many people will stop? People, you put free coffee and donuts on, how many people are coming? How about we put a big sign on the Texas border? You get free education, free health care, free free food. What do you think they're going to do?
Board too.
So
So there's not much that they're left needing.
So I want our congressmen here and our senators to fix it. No more. Don't tell me about they're going to build some wall or do nothing's happening. If anybody's been down there, and I think that's my point, this country is vast. The last time I'm going to be down in El Paso a couple weeks from now at the beginning of January. I'm doing another story down there from El Paso into Juarez. There used to be, Daryl, there used to be a turnstile. You put a quarter in and you go through. And now a friend of mine asked me, there's really a bridge? Yeah, there's a bridge. You don't have to you could take the bridge and walk across, and then they tell you come back in 5 or 10 years for your court date. Really?
Right. So what is your opinion as how do we fix the issue?
You need to have a very, very people have to know exactly what our policy is. And if we're going to have a welfare state, there better be some way to have a policy that if you come into this country, that none of this stuff is given to you or you get unless you go through some kind of not a court thing for coming 5 years later. You have to sign up for this stuff or do something. You just can't be illegal because you don't have a country if you don't have borders. Okay. I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, so, but we need, in my opinion, you need a policy. Come up with the policy, and we could argue over that, Rebecca. That's fine. But for me, you can't be giving stuff away and have. And when we say open borders, honestly, we're always going to have open borders. We're always going to have open borders, and anybody that's been, I don't care if it's Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. I've said, Daryl, on my radio show, go ahead, build your wall, build a 10-foot wall, and they're going to show up with a 12-foot ladder, or they're going to have the tunnels just like they have all over the place, and then you're going to think you're secure, and they're coming in under the tunnels. I mean, or they're taking a ferry boat over to Louisiana to come in. They're doing it over in Florida now. People are flying. It's actually cheaper and safer to fly into Montreal and come across the northern border. So my whole point is we don't have a policy, and that's all I'm asking. These stop pandering. Let's not. I personally believe the vast amount of Americans really want to see this border thing fixed, immigration fixed. But it doesn't get fixed with saying you're securing a border. In my estimation, my thing is people are always going to get in here. The country's too vast.
Right. Well, they're claiming it's secure now. Every time you hear Kamala Harris talk about the border.
Yeah. Well, it's not secure. You know what, Rebecca? I was just out a couple months, 2 months ago. I was down in Arizona. I think I was stopped 8 times by Border Patrol. You know, because I'm in like really desolate places, and they pull me over.
Yeah.
And you know, so they're doing their job,
right?
But the fact is that even for me, they say basically, I put my window down. Are you an American? Yeah, okay, get out of here. You know, they know. I mean, they've been around. But at the end of the day, it's if they pull other people over, they just let them go, or they get a court date 5 years. Like, you're going to come back in 5 or 10 years. That's what I'm saying. I think the time has come to fix the problem. And I think if we all put our energies into fixing the problem, as opposed to trying to listen to people tell me that they're going to secure the borders. What border? What border they securing?
Yeah.
Because if they're not, if somehow miraculously they close off the southern border, they're going to come someplace else.
That's true.
I would if you're giving me free stuff. I live on Tunkhannock Creek. Well, the Rio Grande's not much bigger. You walk right across.
And I think once it hits locally, like, you have people now in New York City that are fed up just because there's so many illegal immigrants there.
You got another breakdown?
All right. We got.
Boy, you're cutting bad today.
Yeah. I think we got to go to break.
Flip Ammo is your trusted source of high-quality ammunition. We're passionate about shooting and offer a wide range of products from bulk ammo to hard-to-find rounds, all at competitive prices. You can choose from local pickup or fast daily shipping. We are the fastest shippers in the industry. We strategically developed our space next to the UPS shipping center and can ship most orders same day till 7 p.m. Our dedicated customer service team is always available for any questions or product recommendations. Experience the passion, expertise, and exceptional service that sets us apart. Flip Ammo, your trusted source for high-quality ammunition.
You're back.
And we're back. We're still losing Daryl.
We are, Rebecca. That's it. So are you broadcasting from Tunkhannock?
Yeah. Yep. From Tunkhannock.
That's amazing. I would have never known. Daryl didn't tell me you were right up here in Tunkhannock.
Yeah.
I'm right down the block from you. I'm right down the block from you.
Just a little bit north of here. I didn't stray far from home.
Wow. That's pretty good. So anyway, I mean, I think good people need to join together and really, look more. I think more for solutions as opposed to maybe making people scapegoats and holding our elected officials accountable. I mean, they have a responsibility to fix that border. Right. And when I say that border, the immigration policy. we
Mhm.
deserve to know what the immigration policy is, and then we could argue over you don't like the immigration policy or I like the immigration policy, and vote accordingly. But
Mhm.
they owe us to fix this thing and fix it now, because we're all tired of hearing about the immigration and
Yeah.
the invasions and all this other stuff that you constantly keep hearing. And quite honestly, in my opinion, if you're walking 1,000 miles to get here, you should at least know what you're walking here for, so that you have a real policy to find out, if
Right.
you're going to be allowed to be here, or they're going to put you on the bus and ship you somewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
so
The
it's
state's hands are kind of tied to this problem, correct? I mean, the
it is
state's getting these large influxes of illegals coming in. I mean, there's not much that they can do except try to bus them to another state.
correct. That
Yeah.
is, and they are overloaded, and we see that, and that's some of the documentary that we're going to do for the Gazette here in January, because I'm personally going to be down there again, and once again, it's everywhere. When I tell you I've been on every state border, it's from Maine to New Hampshire to Vermont to New York, right across into Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, right across Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've canoed the boundary waters. I go back and forth from Canada to the United States, and the only thing you see is mosquitoes. I mean, it's very difficult to close from North Dakota to Montana. That's where we raised our family, in Montana,
Uh-huh.
Idaho,
Okay.
Washington, Alaska. Yeah. So
Nice.
Lou,
Nice.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you is about the nonprofits that are helping the illegals come over to the country, get into the country.
right.
Have you heard anything about that? Those the nonprofit organizations, and who are funding these nonprofits that are helping illegals coming to this country?
See, that's another thing, Daryl. And once again, that I don't specifically, I can't speak specifically to that, but shouldn't that be part of an immigration policy, that who is allowed to do alternative immigration policy, or helping people come into this, or circumvent coming into this country? I mean, you're bringing up a valid point here, and I personally have never even thought about that. But shouldn't that even be part of an immigration policy, a real
You
reform
get a
policy?
lot of corruption with that too. A lot of people are getting paid to bring people over the border, or even
Yep.
under the guise of nonprofit when there is profit. And I think the latest number out that I had heard was 40% of the children being brought across the border were not being brought by family members. They're kind of being brought and used just as pawns. They feel like if they come with a child, they're going to get to stay here easier, or, have it easier once they get here. But
Hell,
that's a pretty
welcome to
scary number.
America.
Welcome to America. Yeah, but once again, we should know that, Rebecca. We should be able to definitively say, if you show up at the border with a child, does that automatically let you come into the country? I'm not so
Right.
sure anybody knows what the policy is. I mean,
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of you know give and go, or a lot of people like to lay blame. I mean, but this has been going on for a very long period of time, like I said, and that was Reagan. If you remember Reagan, all the illegals that were in the country were given legal status, and they were going to fix the policy then. I mean, that was quite
Yeah.
a few years ago. I mean, there's a lot of presidents in between, and a lot of Congresses, and it's their responsibility. And you asked the question before, do they really want to fix the policy, Daryl? And I'm not so sure they
I
do.
don't think so, because you have all these corporations, meat factories, pig factories, chicken factories, that are hiring kids that are 15, 16 years old. I mean, I'm watching the news, and they're talking about it. One kid, he's like 14 years old, working in a pig factory.
Right.
And the excuse that they always say, well, Americans, and they don't want to work in a pig factory, or they don't want to work in a meat, cutting up a hog or cow, or doing all these other service jobs. And that we need more people to work in America. We need more people to come into America to fulfill these jobs that are not fulfilled in certain areas of the country. I mean, Arkansas, in Kentucky, and Alabama, and Mississippi, and Texas. I mean, and it's it's a terrible way of thinking of why is this happening, and why none of the politicians are trying to, the government is shutting this down, this whole program down. It just bothers me.
Well, I mean,
that this is happening.
You bring up a couple.
America.
You bring up a couple points
And
there.
Kids are coming over.
Kids are being taken advantage of.
What does that look like?
Cutting out again, Rebecca. Kids are
what type
kids
of
are
America?
being. Yeah, you keep cutting out, Daryl. We keep losing.
All right.
That's okay. But some of the questions you asked, I mean, you have kids being taken advantage of. That's one thing. That's one issue. You have corporations that are hiring these kids. Where is the responsibility, or where is the culpability of corporations hiring illegals? I mean, once again, does this not go back to policy and saying, hey, listen, if you're a corporation and you're going to be hiring illegals, you better have some documentation. Why are they getting away with it, and where?
Yeah. Most likely they're big donors, I would say.
Thank you.
But
yeah, thank you. Yeah,
seems to be how it works.
It certainly is how it works. And it was funny. I just came back from Europe. I was in Europe, took my backpack and went traveling over there. And I was getting ads from Topeka, Kansas for Russian and I forget who else it was to come to Topeka and drive, semi trucks. And I had interviewed a trucker, and he was telling me about how Missouri has just when I was on my travels, I was, I think, in Texas, and I got to talking to this truck driver, and he was saying that he was from Missouri, and that the state itself got rid of the requirement that you had to speak English to drive a tractor trailer, which I would think,
wow.
Yeah, and because they're complaining, but I thought it was very funny that in the heartland, in your heartland, you see this once again crosses a lot of different lines, and I don't want to get anybody mad, but at the end of the day, well, I know what Topeka, Kansas is like, okay, and it's pretty red down there. And yet I wonder if those people know that the corporations that are in that town are advertising in Europe to get illegals to come or foreigners to come to drive their trucks. And that's the point.
Right.
And you don't have to speak English, by the way. So you could get on the highway and not know where the hell you're going, driving a 16-wheeler, 18-wheeler. Yeah, it's pretty scary. So
very scary.
There's a lot of gray area here, and that's why I have a tendency not to try to put blame. There's plenty of blame to go around for a lot of different things, but there's a lot of stuff happening behind closed doors that you and me and good people that are just saying there's something wrong here, don't realize it's going right on in our backyards, right under our noses, whether it's custody for cash, kids for cash, illegals driving 18-wheelers. I mean, there's a lot of things here that are just that don't make any sense. Don't make any sense.
All right.
So,
all right, Lou. I just want to say thank you for coming on.
You bet, Daryl. Thanks, Rebecca. I'll see you somewhere soon around here. I'll get you the newspapers and.
All right, Lou.
Sounds good.
IndependentGazette.org. Yep, you can check that out, and then you'll see the 3 initiatives that we're working on, besides some of the school board stuff and EPA stuff and all the other stuff. But those are the 3 issues that we're really focusing on, only because I think we could. This is election year coming up, and we have to, in my opinion, this is the time that we have to raise awareness to our constituents, to the voters, of where these people actually stand, because there's all kinds of, so much is hidden. That's all I'm saying. And a lot of people are voting party as
All
opposed to individuals, and there you go.
Right. We appreciate you bringing it to light. That's for sure.
Well, thanks for having me.
All
You
right,
guys
Lou.
have a good rest of the night, and
Thank
Thanks.
we'll
you.
You
talk.
too.
We'll talk to you soon.
Take
All right,
care.
guys.
Sounds good. Thanks again.
You betcha.
All right. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
This is
Welcome to the
Darryl
On
McKell
Fire
Brooks.
Show.
Great
This is
interview.
your host, Darryl McKell Brooks, with my other two great co-hosts. Yes, Rebecca. Are you there? Rebecca Boyd.
I am
Yeah.
here. So excited to be here.
And Chris Cloud. Hey, Chris. Wow, man. How you doing?
It's a long time making. Glad to be here.
Thank you all for watching and supporting.
I am just a big patriot and lover of freedom. And
I'm coming to you guys from what I call the front line of the heartland.
Flip Ammo is your trusted source of high-quality ammunition. We're passionate about shooting and offer a wide range of products from bulk ammo to hard-to-find rounds, all at competitive prices. You can choose from local pickup or fast daily shipping. We are the fastest shippers in the industry. We strategically developed our space next to the UPS shipping center and can ship most orders same day till 7 p.m. Our dedicated customer service team is always available for any questions or product recommendations. Experience the passion, expertise, and exceptional service that sets us apart. Flip Ammo, your trusted source for high-quality ammunition.
All right, we're back. Hey, Rebecca.
we're back.
Yeah, that was a great interview. You really took charge in that interview. I really liked it.
Ah, well, thank you. It was a
Yes.
pleasure. He's full of good information.
Mhm. It is so sad to me that, when people say America the Great, America is a great country, but we have a dark side to this country. And when it comes to
Yep.
immigration, when it comes to taking away parental rights, all these things that are happening to our kids, Cash for Kids in Pennsylvania, and this happened all over the
Yep.
country. People are starting to say, what type of country is this, and what type of politicians and the policies, and it's scary. We can
Yeah.
be a greater country, but when you have these things are happening, it's sad. That's why
Yes,
we need.
very sad. And now
Mm.
parents are faced with a lot of issues with children and school. And I know some parents are being faced with problems in their schools for their kids coming out as transgender and wanting sex changes, and the parents' hands are tied because what are they going to do?
Mhm.
So it's
Oh, yeah.
it's scary time.
Oh yeah, and I'm from the city of Trenton, and when you look at the city of Trenton and Camden, and you look at Philadelphia, you look at the kids not graduating from high school with a third grade reading level, math level, uh,
Yeah,
no view understanding of what's going to happen to their future. And because a lot of
right.
these kids have no future, they can't get into college. You can't get into college with a
Yeah.
third grade reading level, and there's really no tech schools that are happening, and even still,
Right.
it's sad that our young kids are left behind, and
Right.
we have to do better. Even when they
Yeah.
look at what's happening with the politicians. I mean, can you
Yeah.
imagine as a kid growing up and you see all the lies, the corruption that's taking place in this country? I mean, you look at
Yeah.
the media. I mean, what do you
Yeah.
think as a male or a female? It's a kid in high school.
Right.
Like,
I think
what's
we're
the
going to
future
have a
look
lot
like?
of future generations growing up just feeling defeated. It's like I don't know, our voices aren't being heard for what needs to be done. I can remember way back in my 20s listening to presidential debates and my them talking about fixing our education, and I mean, it's gotten worse instead of better.
Yeah, that's why, I tell more people don't go to private schools or charter schools, or in fact, homeschool.
Yep.
Homeschool is a lot more parents are homeschooling their kids, and
Yep.
because they know that there's not public education. Public education has failed the community, and there are still people are pushing money into public education, and knowing that public education hasn't moved towards the 21st century of education, so they're suffering.
Right. And a lot of families can't afford private schooling, so it leaves a lot of kids at a major disadvantage.
Yeah, so I feel so sad that Chris couldn't have been here.
I know, we missed
I
him.
know. Chris, hey Chris, I apologize. So we're gonna have his special guest come on. Hopefully we can get her back next week. But Chris, listen, we're gonna have these, gotta work all these kinks, but it's gonna be exciting, and we're gonna have great guests on. I'm working on some great guests. I know Chris is working on some, and anybody want to advertise or come on to the show, give us send me an email or something on Facebook Live. Brooks US 2008 at gmail.com, or you can go Facebook on my messenger and send me a message. But we're trying to produce a show that people would watch and understand and learn. And that's what it's all about, watching, understanding, and learning, because there's so many issues out there that's happening in our country and across the world.
Yeah.
And as you know, what they're doing to our President Trump, so we have to at least stay on top of that. Yep. So listen, I just want to thank you all for watching and supporting the show. And all our shows are going to work out. We're working out all the kinks. And thank you for Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Daryl. Always happy to be here.
I love you. Look at your beautiful red shirt. I love that.
Thank you.
I got the hair. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I love it. Yes. All right, y'all. Well, I thank y'all for watching. I'm Daryl McKell Brooks, and this is who?
Rebecca Boyd.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night. Peace.